right-wing violence in this country is far more prevalent than left-wing violence. In fact, the Justice Department just took something off their website that admitted this because it didn't fit their narrative. Charlie Kirk gets shot. They don't know who the killer is, but they immediately start saying it's the left. Immediately attacks on HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities. Black college student was lynched. Homeless people are being murdered and shot at. Brian Kilmeade, who's a Fox News host, said on the air that he thinks that we should just mass murder all the homeless.
Why isn't MAGA happy? You have full control of the Supreme Court. You ended affirmative action. You ended DEI. You've gotten everything you've wanted. What are you so angry about?
Charlie Kirk did say that hate speech should be protected. People are getting in trouble for just saying things that Charlie Kirk said.
FBI is stupid. FBI, Kash Patel looking at you, you dumb, you stupid demi-dumbs. Montana, they decided to incinerate a bunch of meth. Yeah, where did they do it? In an animal shelter. But little did they know that there was something wrong. And of course, all the meth fumes just got shot back to the animals and to the people. So many people got incredibly sick. And I have a quote, I believe, from the person who actually runs everything. She says, I can firmly and confidently say that as the executive director, I did not know that they were disposing of extremely dangerous narcotics on site. My team and my animals have been confirmed to have been exposed to meth. And FBI spokesperson Sandra Baker says, yeah, they routinely use these facilities. So you guys are dumb. Genuinely, if I had to burn pounds of amphetamines, my first thought would not be to do it in an occupied space.
Right, around other people.
Remove everybody first. And the executive director's yeah, we didn't know that was happening. But the FBI is oh, there was a pressure reroute of the valve, and it went into the feline center first.
Kitty's on meth.
Kitty's on meth. Kitty's on meth.
Kitty already acts like she's on meth.
Dude, when don't they? Catnip freak out. But yeah, so that was super fun. So FBI needs to get it together. On top of it, ICE needs to get it together. Not only did they ruin an $8 billion deal that we could have had with South Korea coming here with Hyundai and LG, but now all the, Koreans that came here in good faith as this new trade deal to firm up the partnership, almost every single one except for one has left.
Well, the Koreans are very upset for, obvious reasons.
Uh-huh.
They were treated horribly. Not only they were here legally to do work, so they had permits to be here. ICE just flat out made a mistake. And not only did they kidnap, which is the correct terminology when you take somebody illegally, which is what was happening here, kidnap these Koreans, but then put them in these detention centers where they had these deplorable conditions and really just violated their human rights, abused these people. So of course they left and aren't coming back. And not only that, but these companies and the Korean government are furious about how these people were treated. It was completely illegal.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, it's going to cost us thousands of jobs.
350 billion is allegedly what we have lost with this trade deal falling through because of the incompetency of ICE. And then Trump turning around and being wait, just stay. Yo, you botched it, buddy. When you put a bunch of racist people into a militia where they get to detain people just because they have different colored skin or an accent, you have lost the ability. You've lost the leash on your own dogs. You just unleashed racism for fun.
There's reporting out now about the treatment that they experienced while they were being held captive, and it's just outrageous.
When they first got detained, ICE raided the facility, and all of these Korean workers were told to sign papers, which they thought by signing they would be able to be released. And then they're tied with their cables, their wrists, their waist. They had to bend down to drink water because they couldn't lift it because their wrists were here. They were not allowed to have their passports. They weren't allowed to have their IDs. There was no privacy. They said the sun came through a hole this big, maybe. And one of them said it did not seem as though ICE agents knew why the workers had been detained. It felt like our basic human rights weren't being guaranteed. All because of some racist with vests and tasers who literally have a presidential mandate. Yeah, thanks a ton. Thanks a ton. So
imagine if you as a U.S. citizen were sent to some country that we consider an ally, Germany or France or South Korea, and you're there on a work assignment and you're there legally and you have visas and you have permits and you just get snatched and thrown in a prison and tortured for a week. You would lose your mind. You'd be furious. So of course these people are so mad. I feel like Americans just don't seem to understand
it's
how outrageous it is.
Also infuriating because they keep being well, why don't we just make things on American soil? Well, we tried. They literally were doing good faith to give us hundreds of billions of dollars towards our failing economy. Thank you again, Donald Trump, for that. And you botched it with your racism, your prejudice, your generalizing, and your ICE mentality. Like, we could have had exactly what the right cries, rips their hair out over. Why do we need to buy things from China? Well, because when they come here to make things here, they get arrested. Not China, but Korea. But you get the example that I was going for. Insane. Mm-hmm. What else is on the docket, you guys?
Well, this has been shut down for the moment, but Marco Rubio was going to try to get Congress to pass a law saying that he could revoke your passport if you criticize Israel. So that's crazy.
Israel.
Yeah, like, I don't know.
The world will never forget what Israel has done. I will never forget. You made us complicit in a genocide. If I die, no, I didn't kill myself.
He continues to talk about wanting to take away American passports for various things that offend him. He doesn't want us to criticize Charlie Kirk. He doesn't want us to criticize Israel.
Which is crazy because Charlie Kirk literally tweeted about hate speech being free because, like, it's all legal.
Well,
and now they're trying to be like
this like whole database where they're like, we're basically doxing people who criticized or made jokes about Charlie Kirk, and it's just like, this isn't what Charlie Kirk would want.
No, I saw a girl's video on TikTok where she was like, so I was fired for this video, and I clicked on the video, and she's literally just breaking down why she thinks people don't have empathy right now and why people aren't seeming to care, and she was fired for that video.
Well, and that's it's like basically anything outside of, and like last week, our episode, we filmed it truly right after this had happened, and obviously it's been a week, so like a lot more has come out about it, and like, I know that obviously I'm not going to speak for all people on the left, but I think that for a lot of us, like, we're the party who doesn't want gun violence.
No,
I'm not thrilled that somebody got shot. I don't care who they are. I don't want anyone getting shot. I don't want people getting shot.
I wish we didn't see it. I really wish it weren't all over threads. Like, more than anything, I wish that it truly hadn't happened because of the dissent and the hatred and everything that is coming from this. It's insanity.
It's insanity. There's been so much violence now that we're doxing people. I don't also, like, Charlie Kirk did say that hate speech should be protected. People are getting in trouble for just saying things that Charlie Kirk said.
I know, it almost makes me, because, you know, obviously this is my job, so you aren't going to fire me, but it almost makes me want to be just rancorous out there on behalf of the people who are being silent. Like, first of all, silenced is crazy. Being doxxed for not liking a man who told people that black women had inferior brains. Black pilots, you should ask if they're actually qualified. Women only want, like, hateful rhetoric. But oh no, if it's against a white man, then we have a real problem.
Right. And, you know, just recently, Trey Reed, a black student, was lynched.
Yep. Saw that.
So, and I just feel like, and the same day that Charlie Kirk was shot, there was a school shooting
in Colorado, right?
And there's so many people who came out of the woodwork to suddenly be like, oh, it's so awful that Charlie Kirk was shot. And I agree. I don't think anybody should be shot. No. But, like, also, why aren't you talking about it?
That's what I'm saying.
All the other happens.
This pissed me off to a new degree. I posted something on my story, which was about, like, why isn't MAGA happy? Like, you have full control of the Supreme Court. You ended affirmative action. You ended DEI. You've gotten to racially, like, you've gotten everything you've wanted. What are you so angry about? Mm-hmm. And let me just read this guy. I really thought he was doing his big one with, like, Christian love and he sent me this whole thing about, it's the fact that with control of the House and Senate, which was all done legally, somebody was killed for their opinion. I was like, are you dense? Are you actually dense? And so I went into being like, why don't you care about kids dying? Like, why don't you, like, what are you coming out of the woodwork? Suddenly you're an activist for Charlie Kirk?
Right.
And he sends, I didn't even read this. I skimmed it. Really, I was like, my guy, I'm not here to debate Charlie Kirk with you. I didn't like him when he's alive, and that's not changed now that he's dead.
Right.
The way someone dies does not erase the way that they lived, and he was a horrible, disgusting man.
Right.
Yeah.
And nobody should die from gun violence.
Yeah, and I still think he shouldn't have died.
According to him,
but that's a necessary evil.
Right? So I don't know.
Yeah, the hypocrisy
really
from MAGA
crazy.
is actually... oh my God, the amount of content creators that have revealed themselves to be secret Nazis is insane, the amount of people. And now the rhetoric is, how are we the violent side? They tried to assassinate Trump and they killed Kirk. I'm like, how are you that a man was lynched?
The Utah governor was like, he had a press conference and he was like, well, I'd really hoped that the shooter wasn't going to be one of ours. I really hoped they were going to be from another country, he said specifically. Turns out, no, it's a guy from Utah. His family bragged that they were right wing. I don't even know.
What tribes people belong to has become very messy. And I don't think that somebody being in a same-sex relationship or being trans or having a trans partner is anything to do with their political ideology. You've got Caitlyn Jenner, very far-right trans woman. You've got Peter Thiel, very far-right gay man. So I don't think that also... apparently the gripers are these like incels that hate women so much that they would rather be with a trans woman than a biological woman.
I've heard
because
that.
Biological women are gross to them. So like I don't know that any of this
LGBTQ rise up.
Yeah, I don't know that any of this has anything to do with this person's political ideology.
No, it's just the way that they're now framing it to be the left. He was brainwashed. Now there's a call to action to not send your kids to these. This lady, I couldn't even remember the wording she used. It was so outrageous to me. But like these indoctrination schools.
He seems just like a very mentally disturbed person. We don't know what his motivations were because he's not saying.
I'm just like, what, you're doing all of these, I don't know, you literally just shot someone and you're like writing these like love notes to your like roommate. I don't know,
but apparently weird. At the whole time he's trying to escape, disassemble the rifle. Like there's nothing that's lining up. But I mean, we've seen cover-ups before, so I really wouldn't be surprised if this is just used to sow so much hatred towards the left.
Right-wing violence in this country is far more prevalent than left-wing violence. This isn't like my opinion because I happen to be on the left. It's just what's objectively true. In fact, the Justice Department just took something off their website that admitted this because it didn't fit their narrative. So the government is, as usual, trying to, under Donald, is trying to change things to their narrative. But the Cato Institute, which is a conservative think tank, has studies on their website that you can go to, and they talk about the fact that in the last 50 years, the violence perpetrated by the right-wing extremists is over 6 times more prevalent than what was perpetrated by left-wing extremists. So, like, are there unreasonable extreme people on both sides? Yes, obviously, but the prevalence is far more weighted to the right than the left. It's just objectively true. They are more violent. They are more dangerous. They constantly say that we are that, but it's projection. It's not reality. There's no evidence for it.
I also feel like they are saying it a lot right now, but also pre this whole Charlie Kirk thing, it's like, oh, pussy-ass liberals don't have any guns, and like we're the strong party and stuff. So it's like, okay, so what the are we?
No, the narrative
what
flips.
Is it?
They keep moving the goalposts.
Are we a bunch of soy boys or are we violent
extremists?
Murderers?
Yeah.
Which one are we?
They keep moving the goalposts. They keep changing the narrative. It's literally like I used to think that conservatives were peaceful because they were stupid and they never had to learn anything. But it's like it must take some serious effort to avoid accountability like it is the plague. You guys, super heroes. I'm mind blown you exist.
So here's what's happened. The order of events was Charlie Kirk gets shot. They don't know who the killer is, but they immediately start saying it's the left, and the left must be, wiped off the face of the earth, that we're the problem, that we're violent, that we killed him, we do all these terrible things.
Never mind the KKK existing still. They certainly aren't liberals.
Right. So from that, bit of instruction from MAGA that this is the left and we're violent, we're dangerous, and we need to be gotten rid of, immediately attacks on HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities. A black college student was lynched. Homeless people are being murdered and shot at. Brian Kilmeade, who's a Fox News host, said on the air that he thinks that we should just mass murder all the homeless.
Yeah, he said either they accept rehab programs or we euthanize them. There's no other option.
And right after he says this, somebody shoots up a bunch of homeless people and kills some of them, and kills a homeless man in another state. So it's like he's specifically stoking this violence, not just Kilmeade, but the whole MAGA crowd is specifically stoking this violence. They're trying to dox people for saying anything they don't like about Charlie Kirk. So they're the ones engaging in all this right-wing terrorism, but the whole time they're talking about how it's the left, but the left isn't actually doing any of this.
Again, you can just see we're literally just trying to make it through this hellhole of a presidency.
Regarding the whole people losing their jobs over it, it is outrageous. It is ridiculous. We are in a fortunate position in that, like, we're a progressive company owned by progressives, so nobody that works at Boredwalk is going to lose their job if they say something publicly that MAGA doesn't like. But I was just talking to a friend the other day who works for, has a corporate job, and he's like, yeah, I feel like I can't speak publicly because I have to worry about losing my job. And so, like, I'm kind of envious of the situation that you're in with your job because you are able to speak. And granted, like, we have our own concerns. Like, it's dangerous for us to speak because of the things we just talked about, that they're talking about trying to kill us all for our opinions. Mm-hmm. So there is some danger for the three of us for what we do, but there isn't a danger of us losing our jobs specifically if we say things they don't like. It's a different kind of danger. But I feel like there's more onus on us to speak for people that can't right now because not everyone can. And it frustrates me when people in the comments are like, well, what are you doing about the problem? I'm like, even being able to say things right now is important, and not everyone can.
Yeah. Interesting times in American history to see I wouldn't even recognize our nation a year ago. Like, things are rapidly
escalating, and they're gonna continue to do so.
Yeah, I mean, if it gets worse, I'm dipping. I mean, there's nothing for me really. Besides my job here.
The problem with leaving is fascism is not just on the rise here. And this is something that's happened historically. Fascism doesn't tend to just happen in isolation. It tends to spread. So it's happening in other Western countries too. It's rising. And so even if you can leave, that doesn't mean that there's places to go where this isn't going to be a problem. Ideally, we can, wrest some control back from them, rather than have to, throw in the towel and quit and give up, because there might not be anywhere to give up to and go away to.
Yeah, that's a good reminder.
And the other thing that happened was Donald was specifically asked by Fox how he plans to, improve things and help and, heal the nation or whatever. And his response was that he's like, I'll get in trouble for this, but I just don't care.
How do we fix this country? How do we come back together?
I'll tell you something that's going to get me in trouble, but I couldn't care less.
We know you don't care. You shouldn't be in this job. Someone that cares should have the job. But it's an outrageous thing from that position to be sitting there and saying, I don't care if things get better in this country. Then you don't belong in the job.
Impeach him. I can't. Like, I actually am so in disbelief with MAGA supporters that still stand by their vote. Like, I'm like, do you not have eyes? Do you not have rational thinking or common sense?
There's really nothing.
Well, yeah, it's all the rich white people who are never, ever, ever going to be affected, acting like they have any leg to stand on with this takeover of the country. It's violent. It's this. You get to sit there. Like, you don't have to lift a finger.
It's crazy.
Ever.
I mean, there's also a difference between just like rank and file people, which would, be like, anyone with a TikTok account saying things out of pocket, whether it's progressives celebrating somebody getting shot or conservatives talking about how liberals need to be gone. Like, they're both problematic, but like, they're just people and people are allowed to say things. But when elected officials who have power and are supposed to be like running the country start taking these positions, that's a much bigger deal. JD Vance took over Charlie Kirk's podcast earlier this week and was saying that people should go after anyone saying mean things about Charlie Kirk, and saying that people should get people fired from their jobs if they say things he doesn't like.
But how is that possible?
President taking over
a podcast?
What the
and asking American citizens to essentially attack other American citizens, which is so inappropriate.
Which is insane. We have racism, we have misogyny, we have hate speech and hate crimes, and they're more worried about how people are responding to a man.
Children are getting shot in school.
Which, by the way, the guy that most people are upset about, said that that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, not that it's okay, but that it's a necessary evil.
It's also just like so shocking and unprecedented, and I don't care if you are conservative, like, you shouldn't want to see this normalized. We never saw in my whole lifetime, that I can't think of a single time, Clinton, Bush, Obama, Biden, any of them ever saying things like this, saying they don't care about making the country better, saying that Americans should attack other Americans. Even after 9/11, which was a horrific time for the country, you did not see Bush and Cheney getting on mics and saying that their supporters should go attack Muslim Americans. It was happening and it was terrible, but they weren't the ones directing it.
Yeah.
Right.
Trump is a hateful, smarmy, squirmy weasel, and anyone that associates with him or supports him, you fall into the same exact category. And I'll say it with my whole chest because I won't lose my job. Heyo.
That is true. Everyone that works at Boredwalk is free to criticize the regime and say what they would like to say about, the situation that we find ourselves in.
It's just heating up in here, you guys. It's just so hot in here.
It's a terrible time for the country.
Terrible time.
The distressing part is, like, we knew Donald and his cabinet are a bunch of monsters, but just to see ordinary American people that are happy about it and okay with it is so much worse. People just have no bottom.
Yeah. I don't know. I luckily didn't really see much of that. I know some people who were like, oh my God, a bunch of people I follow came out of the woodworks with this. I only had one person that I was just like, oh, I'll unfollow you. What the is this? But I was grateful that I didn't. Most of my
I went to a Christian college, so I'll let you guess how many of them revealed themselves. And you know what's so interesting is so many people being surprised by certain content creators, being coming out of the woodworks like this. And I'm like, if we have reached this point in the presidency and you haven't heard and you don't know what side they stand on, there's a very clear reason, and the reason is they are shamed and they're embarrassed. But they don't want to do anything.
Be bad for their brand.
Yeah, bad for their brand, not bad for the fact that they're literally supporting an open fascist who wants everybody who looks different than him and speaks differently than him dead. So go you guys. I'm sure the top 1% is just going to keep getting 1% here.
Yeah, well, there's also people in the comment section, at least in Boardwalk land, I'm sure all over. I don't really go into comment sections around the internet. I get more than my fill from Boardwalk's comment section. But people talking about how, we've been talking about this for a while, but they continue to talk about, the problem is on both sides, and both sides are equally bad, and the Democrats are just as responsible for the situation as the Republicans are. And I'm really tired of this narrative because as flawed as the Democrats are, and as often as they do disappoint me, and I don't always agree with them, they are the better behaved party. They are the more law-abiding party. They are the party that exhibits more of a moral compass.
Yeah, we don't really have casual racism.
They're not going to be I don't actually care if the country gets better or not. We all know that anybody who's getting into politics, especially who's vying to be president, you probably are a bit of a narcissist. But at least say you want the country to get better. Don't just openly be actually
I don't care.
I'm actually only doing this because I didn't want to go to jail. So
to me, that commentary, the whole both sides are equally bad, and the obvious subtext there is so why vote. I don't really abide this kind of behavior in our comment section because it feels very anti-democracy to me, and it feels like you're ceding the country to the worst possible people as opposed to people that you don't think are perfect and you don't always agree with, but might do a better job even if they don't do everything you want.
Yeah,
it's just we all have to exist in this country. We have to elect someone. There is going to be a better option, and they aren't going to be perfect.
Just can't
because
stand
nobody's going to be running for president who is perfect. The perfect person in the world probably isn't going to run for president, unfortunately.
No, Mother Teresa did charity work.
People who are really good-spirited, good people,
they're not usually in politics.
Yeah. So, come on. But stop saying that. I think.
Yeah, which leads me to a good comment that we got on one of our videos recently, which I'm pretty sure is about us probably telling MAGA to leave us alone because we don't want to talk to them. I love your videos, but this one is awful. You're welcome to live in an echo chamber if you want, but don't encourage others to do the same. Don't normalize reversing to discuss things with people who don't believe what you believe. No, I'm not pro-fascist or pro-censorship or pro-millionaire. Two things can be true at the same time, and you should never dehumanize the other side. And that's really frustrating to me because it's I grew up around a lot of conservatives, I would say, and a lot of people that when I gained consciousness and this is actually not how I think is okay. I would have to be told that I just have to be okay with racism, have to be okay with transphobia. And in my personal life, that is not who I surround myself with. Why on God's green earth am I obligated to make space for people who genuinely think that people are lesser than them and want them dead?
Yeah, this person was commenting. I know exactly what they were commenting on. We have an ad, and it's also in our Reels feed on Instagram and Facebook, I think it's on our TikTok as well,
It's like,
where
this isn't for you.
yeah,
that one?
essentially some woman came into our comment section. So keep in mind, we never go out seeking people to like start things with. We kind of just keep to ourselves within the Boardwalk universe online and don't seek people out. But people come into our comment section and say nasty things, and sometimes we turn it into content. So this woman came into the comment section and said, I wouldn't talk to those women wearing those shirts. She was talking about you two wearing like, progressive t-shirts. And the reaction was, good, we don't want you to talk to us. You don't seem like our kind of person. So we didn't dehumanize her. We didn't call her any names. We weren't being particularly nasty about it. We were just saying, yeah, you don't sound like our kind of person. Please don't talk to us. And saying to our audience, like, if you don't want someone like this talking to you, get one of these shirts. Maybe keep them out of your way as well. And that is what set this person off. But I do see a lot of this kind of commentary in the last week or two, talking about trying to like make peace with them and hear them out. And I feel like there's a big difference between not engaging with people and like wishing them harm, hurting them, doing things to them. Not welcoming somebody in your space is not hurting them or doing them harm or being violent. You're just not welcoming them into your community, which is what we do about it.
Yeah, and I'm not going to gentle parent a fascist. If you can't see that what's happening right now is wrong, I've run out of air in my lungs to like try to appeal to humanity and empathy when it's very obvious that only few people have it anymore.
Well, there are progressives who do talk to them, and I think that's great.
That's
actually,
your burden to bear.
I appreciate that they exist. I appreciate what they're doing. I think what they do is important. It's not a talent I have, and it's not something that like I claim we are going to do. It's not something we offer, but to expect it of all of us is ridiculous. There are a lot of progressives that they're not the right messenger to talk to the other side, and to expect it from like every progressive, especially every progressive with a platform, is like a really unreasonable ask. That's not the function all of us serve, and it's not the function we serve here at Boardwalk.
No.
Boardwalk is for like-minded people to have community. We are not trying to convert people.
Not even a little bit. Yeah, I try to lead by example. I walk the talk, and I am who I am, and I am always going to try to treat people a certain way, and my politics plays into that. And if you don't get it, then I really don't want to talk to you. It's especially if you don't regret your vote, which is what I said to that DM with that guy. I was like, I have all these pieces of evidence, and if you voted for that and you still support it, like, why are we talking?
I also think that having space for people that are oppressed, people of color, queer people, all kinds of people, women, having a space that we feel like we have community and we can talk to each other, and there's a content creators that are speaking
almost
to us, to try to also make space for people that are wishing us harm and doing us harm feels like a real betrayal to our audience anyway. So while I support people like, Pete Buttigieg is a great example of somebody that does this, and I support what he does because I think it's important. I think he does change hearts and minds, which is a good thing. He's not actively trying to create a community for people that feel oppressed by what's going on in the country right now. So there are like different functions and different goals and different kinds of communicators. And I just wish that, and this is mostly our side I'm speaking to, that our side would understand, like, there's different people in our movement with different functions, and you shouldn't expect the people that are trying to create community for our side to also be the ones out extending the olive branch to people that are hostile, which we don't do here at Boardwalk.
Also, like, so bold of you to assume that, like, I haven't been absolutely positively fatigued trying to talk to these people. Like, my last relationship, different political views, had to leave it. Was very patient, very communicative. Like, you think I don't... Go f*** yourself.
Some people can't be won over, first of all. Second of all, not all of them need to be won over. Some people are just not going to be. We don't need to win everybody over to win elections, which is really at the core of what we need to do to change things. So yeah, our side can just really frustrate me sometimes just as much as the side that I really don't want anything to do with. A little more patience for people on our side, but
some of get liberal fatigue too, because it's just like this, like, what is it? They're trying to cancel content creators who expressed like, I really don't like that this happened. This was jarring for me, and they're like, how dare you have any sympathy for that?
You can be against violence.
Shut the f- up. Yeah, get off a soapbox and actually do something. Call your lawmakers, but sitting there and acting like you have a moral high ground that makes you better than other people, shut up.
I think that's the other thing that's going on right now is there's like a lack of nuance. You can say that you denounce violence, which we do, and also say that you are not sad that a bad person is gone. Two things can be true. I don't wish violence on bad people, but I'm not mourning bad people.
In period. Thank you. Yes. Okay. Moving forward, we have a review for our Sinister Affirmations deck, which just came out, and it says, "Love the deck. Wish there were more. And good news for you, we have our cynical affirmations coming out when."
It'll be out before the end of the year. We're trying to have them ready for like Black Friday, Cyber Monday. We basically finished all of the product design, but we are trying to finalize the color palette right now, which is being delayed by Carrier losing our new Pantone book. But we'll hopefully get that tomorrow and finish that up.
So good news for you, anonymous comment writer. There will be more, and it has a very cute box. We all looked at it today. It's similar to some of the shirt styles. It's very cute. So I think you guys will have fun with that. And yeah, that's our ranting session.
One other announcement before we play with the Delve decks is our literary themed activity book just came out like an hour ago, like right before we hopped on the podcast.
It is this one. Ha!
Yeah.
Ha!
That is super fun. Very excited to get it to people. If you love fairy tales and classic literature, you're a huge book nerd, this is for you. Really going to be a lot of fun to play with.
And the colors, we love a pale blue. We love
very
her
cute.
pages. It smells good. Lots of word searches. I know this is like a advanced copy, but as we were talking about it, I was like mentally filling in some of the puzzles, and I was like, I need a pen, but this isn't my book.
We just got the palettes. They just came while we were recording. So all of the inventory is here now, which is why I was live on the website.
Home.
So yes, you get to take one home. You can test your expertise on books and fairy tales and see if you can solve all the puzzles. But
I have a confession.
yeah.
I found my
read in
activity
your life.
books.
Oh, you lost them. Where did they go?
So I forget that my coffee table also has storage. And so I lifted it up, and they were all right there. And I was so embarrassed. And I said I wasn't going to tell you,
It's okay.
but I'm telling you now.
Publicly on the podcast. And now everyone knows.
Get your new activity book over at boardwalk.com. They're a lot of fun to play with. Good thing to use if you have a doom scrolling addiction and you need a break from your screen.
Oh, Lord.
Get one of these activity books.
Indeed. The Grievance Journal as well. The Grievance Journal has been my best friend recently. For our audio
feel like
listeners,
I'm
we're
like-
moving on to the Delve decks. We'll start with venting, move to original, and end with
Venting.
joy.
But yeah, what was the worst job you've ever had? Mine was I worked for Vector Marketing, which owns Cutco Knives. Cutco Knives is a multi-level marketing scheme. But my job was not to sell the knives. I was hired as a recruiter. So what I had to do was sit in this weird basement of a law office. It was a terrible, weird place with like the weirdest boss who would just stand over my shoulder. And basically when a person started working for Cutco, they would take their phone, download all of their contacts, hand that contact list to me, and I had to call every single person in their phone and say, hey, this person recommended you for a job at Cutco. And I had to call everyone. It didn't matter if it was like grandma. I still had to call grandma and say, this person recommended you. I had to call every single person. It was so weird. It was super awkward. People yelled at me frequently. And then I also just felt bad because if somebody did agree to take the job, I was like, I just sold you on a terrible thing. This is a terrible company.
Why did you work there?
I needed a job.
Did you know what it was?
I kind of, yeah. But it was like one of those where you're like, well, how bad could it be? Like
Yeah.
I had moved to a new place. Like I just needed a job. It was really awful. And then my paycheck bounced and then I quit.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can top that.
I definitely can't. My worst job probably was right out of undergrad. I got hired as a camp counselor for Brentwood Country Club. I'm name dropping. And I thought I was just going to be a camp counselor, but then they made me the camp director, and I had no idea what I was doing. I was in charge of like the top 1% of LA's kids, and like all these moms screaming at me and like mad at me because the camp wasn't a camp, it was a daycare. And I was like, I just got here. So it was really tough because I had all these people breathing down my neck to do the impossible, which was they had us in a Fort Cachet that literally was probably this room and like this part of it. Like I had 60 kids in an area this big and no activities and no idea what to do. So I did what I do, which is good work. And everyone, like I couldn't take the kids to anywhere. There's members, because it's a private owned country club. They had to let me know it's private, or no, it's member owned or whatever. So it's like they get a say in everything. And so like I couldn't bring the kids anywhere without getting yelled at by people. I couldn't do anything without getting yelled at. And then on my last day there, I was offered a job by the general manager of the whole club to be in the office, to work there. And I was like, yeah, I think that'd be great. Like I need a job after this. Everyone loved me. The parents ended up loving me. The kids loved me. And then on my last day of camp, they fired me with no warning. And I was like, what the hell? F you, Aaron Fox. If you see this, you tennis balding. Seriously, f you. But yeah, they totally fired me. And I was like, whoa, this is really confusing. Like I'd never been talked to about like a changing anything. Like they didn't even communicate to the counselors that I was the camp director. So when I'm telling people to do things, they're like, who are you to talk to me? And it was like I had to make a team. Like I did it with nothing. And then they fired me the second I was no longer useful to them. So seriously, Aaron Fox.
I worked at this company. They were like an agency of some kind. They did like websites and marketing and things like that. And the pay was terrible. The boss was a nightmare. It was like supposed to be like 8 to 5, but if you left at 5, you were leaving early. If you showed up at 8:01 instead of 8, the boss was like at the desk, like ready to like pounce on you and yell at you about it. Just very kind of a real type A controlling boss. Is very difficult to work with. Yeah, and the pay was terrible. The working conditions weren't good. Like there was nothing good about it. And so I started looking for a job, like a different job, pretty much within like a few weeks of getting hired at this job. Because I'm like, the culture here is just terrible. They also wanted you to like hang out all the time. Like they would be like, oh, also I wasn't 21 yet. I graduated college a year early, so I was 20 at the time. I was going to turn 21 in a few months, but I hadn't yet. And so they were like having these drinking events. And I'm like, well, I actually can't even like get in because my ID is not going to let me in. And they would like complain about it and be like, well, you know, it's just really good for like team morale if you're like at these events. And I'm like, I'm not old enough.
So is not getting an MIP.
Yeah,
what do you mean?
You're like, how about you have an event at a place I can get into?
This is on like, par with the edible bud tender.
Yeah, they're like, we could just like drink on the rooftop and you could come to that. And I'm like, I don't drink. Like I did at the time. I still am not I don't really drink much now either, but I didn't drink when I was 20 and I was like, I don't drink, I'm sorry. But yeah, just like very inappropriate. They threatened to sue me when I quit. I'm like, I don't have any money. You don't pay me anything. I'm 20 years old.
Sue you for what?
A breach of contract. I mean, they were just making things up. But yeah, they were very terrible to work for.
Okay, my question is, what do people often wrongly assume about you?
That I played basketball.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Or did sports in general. I like dabbled, but nah, no basketball.
People wrongly assume I'm a model. I'll take that. I will take that. And I know this podcast hasn't been reflective of it. I am in my luteal phase, so I do apologize. People think I'm really angry and mean all the time. I'm just very dramatic. I don't often mean it or even have any real anger in me. And I know this podcast episode, not reflective of that, okay? Sorry, Aaron Fox. Sorry. I'm so sorry I called you a bald-headed. I did mean it, but I am sorry.
Bald-headed.
I did mean it. Okay. So that's probably what people assume wrongly about me.
Well, in the entrepreneurial world, it's very male dominated. So people are in that world surprised to see me at all. But if they do see me, they assume that I must not be good at it, that Matt is really in charge, that Matt knows more about the numbers than I do.
I'll tell you who runs this show, y'all.
That Matt is going to be harder to negotiate than I will be. And this is all incorrect. This is all the opposite of what's true. I am the tougher of the two as far as like who's not a pushover. Matt's much more of a softie than I am. He would agree with this sentiment.
He messaged me notes on a video and he goes, hey, like, don't hate me, but... And you're like, I need this at this and this and this. Can you fix this? Great. And I'm like, period, slay.
I mean, I just...
Get it done.
Yeah, like, I'm not a professional about it, but I can be direct and, I know our numbers. I know what I'm doing. And so it's funny to me when I run across particularly male colleagues and they seem to like direct questions to Matt or want to talk to Matt instead of me. And I'm just like, Okay.
Yeah, you would want to talk to him. He's going to give you what you want. You don't want to talk to me.
But yeah, I think particularly because of my size makes me seem like, I don't know, softer or easier somehow because I'm very short. You can tell I'm sitting down, but I think it makes me seem younger and like
less experience, easier
weaker.
to push around.
Yeah.
God, that's got to be so satisfying when you get to bite back at them and they're like, "Ah, oh my God."
Also, my temperament, I've been told online, because I talk to a lot of these like colleagues online, people think my temperament online does not match my physical appearance, apparently.
I could see that. A lot of pent-up rage in that teeny tiny body.
The world's pretty enraging. What's something you like that might surprise people who know you?
I feel like who know me, I mean, what would surprise them?
Really? What would? I think the one that I've learned that is surprising to people is that I am a pirate fanatic.
Yeah, it's not surprising, but it is kind of
it's
like
a random
okay.
thing. Yeah. I love movies. I love like cute little animated films, and I will cry at every single one of them. Ludio phase, slay.
I know what my answer is. It's a relatively recent thing that I've gotten into. I don't know what I would call them, beige content creators. Like, they live in beige apartments, they wear beige clothes, and they make these, like, very reasonable to-do lists. Like, today I'm gonna, like, read a book in a park, and then they go read the book in the park.
Wait, I have to find this now.
I'll send you some links.
Is it beige content creators?
That's not what they're actually called. I'm trying to describe this content. It's very not me.
It's very simple.
It's very basic. It's very simple. It's very
peaceful.
it's very peaceful. Like they make these to-do lists that are like, I'm gonna make a summer playlist, and then they sit down and they make their summer playlist.
But that's like on par with the activity books, because you're like watching people do something, and that makes you feel accomplished as well.
I'm like, I'm just gonna watch this woman in her beige apartment like fold her laundry.
Please send me. I need more peace in my life.
Which is like so not like the kind of thing you would imagine me watching, but I got Matt into it. I was like, Matt, you got to see this.
You're right. That is not what I would expect you to watch.
Watch this woman. She is about to make herself tea. First, she's going to say she's going to do it. Like, she's going to go on a to-do list. She's going to try some new teas. Then she's going to go buy the tea. And she's going to make the tea. And she's going to drink the tea. And we get to watch her do the whole thing. And by the end, her to-do list is done.
Yeah. So this is funny for people who are like, you guys hate basic people. You hate all these people. We are basic inside as well. We are.
I think mine, I'm going to go with like music that I like, maybe. I don't know. I feel like I am the type of person who has maybe a bit of a chameleon personality, and it's not necessarily where it's like, oh, I'm going to like change myself depending on who I'm talking to, but I will like highlight different aspects of my personality for different people, and I tend to have like a variety of different types of friends, and so I feel like I'll be friends with like a certain type of person, and then they'll be like, oh, you like Taylor Swift? And I'm like, yeah, I'm like a pop girly. Or I'll be hanging out with people where like, you know, maybe that side of my personality is more what they know, and then they're just like, oh, you would like listen to like metal or something. I don't know, like something like totally different than that. So
she's a versatile woman.
I'm
you
just
guys.
like contain multitudes. I don't know what's surprising about me. I feel like I really just wear my heart on my sleeve. It's a curse, really.
I get that. I get that. Yeah.
I don't know.
I would say
have you ever been surprised by
I was
me?
surprised you liked Taylor Swift. Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe like being into girly things, because I'm not like a.
It wasn't that it was girly. It's that Taylor Swift is like the biggest pop star, and when I was meeting you, you struck me as one of those niche. I like my small things. I get Taylor, but you liking Taylor, I was a little surprised by.
So maybe I'll go specifically with, I do like Taylor Swift. I love girly pop music. I think that I am like generally a tomboyish person, but I also feel like I don't know, I love the full gender spectrum and like playing around with it. So yeah, I love girly shit, and you probably wouldn't guess that if you just saw me I'm drinking my beer.
That was like one time I was
It's
at
like, I love Taylor Swift.
Okay, well, if you want to do the activity book or any of the delve decks, you can find these at boardwalk.com. I highly recommend, especially in these trying, terrifying times, find some peace. Do something that fosters a sense of accomplishment. In the meantime, we'll try not to rip our hair out or I will lose our minds. Pray for my luteal phase to end soon. I love you guys so much. Thanks for hanging out with us. Okay, goodbye.